The speech I'm analyzing is Malala Yousafzai's United Nations speech. Her speech is about the importance of education and that it should be provided to boys and girls all around the world. Her speech includes many different examples of ethos, pathos, and logos. The first example of ethos is
Today, it is an honor for me to be speaking again after a long time. Being here with such honorable people is a great moment in my life.
This is ethos because she introduces herself and mentions that she is honored to be speaking to the audience, and she makes herself sound fair and unbiased. Another example of ethos is
Dear brothers and sisters, do remember one thing. Malala Day is not my day. Today is the day of every woman, every boy, and every girl who have raised their voice for their rights. There are hundreds of human rights activists and social workers who are not only speaking for their rights, but who are struggling to achieve their goal of peace, education, and equality.
This is another example of ethos because Malala gains credibility since she is not only speaking about herself but also for others. She does not want to only focus on herself. She wants others to be heard as well. The first example of pathos is
They thought that the bullet would silence us, but they failed. And out of that silence came thousands of voices. The terrorists thought that they would change my aims and stop my ambitions. But nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. I am the same Malala. My ambitions are the same. My hopes are the same. And my dreams are the same. Dear sister,
This portrays pathos because it brings out an emotional tone. She mentions an emotional example and the audience feels for her ambition and courage. The second example of pathos is
dear sisters and brothers, we realize the importance of light when we see darkness. We realize the importance of our voice when we are silenced. In the same way, when we were in Swat, the north of Pakistan, we realized the importance of pens and books when we saw the guns.
This is pathos because it is also emotional and contains implied meanings. Malala talks about how people don't realize what they have or the importance of what they have until they don't have it anymore. Lastly, the first example of logos is when Malala says,
On the 9th of October 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead.
This is logos because Malala speaks about historical incidents and uses specific dates. The other example of logos is
Dear sisters and brothers, I'm not against anyone. Neither am I here to speak in terms of personal revenge against the Taliban or any other terrorist group. I'm here to speak up for the right of education of every child. I want education for the sons and daughters of the Taliban and all the terrorists and extremists.
This is logos because Malala is getting her point across. She is stating the reason why she is giving her speech. She provides a logical argument and states what she is arguing. These are two examples of each rhetoric aspects in Malala's speech. Also, since Malala is talking to a younger audience, she uses language that they would understand. Language differs in a speech depending on the audience. For example, someone might use more complex language for a more official crowd such as Congress. But here at the United Nations speech, Malala was addressing youth delegates. The word choices Malala uses also are effective because the youth audience knows the speech is directed to the students themselves. For example, Malala states things like, "Thank you to the children," and "Dear brothers and sisters." Also, she directly states that she is speaking for many boys and girls. This speech empowers the students because it is very powerful on the topic of education. This speech empowers the students to provide education to the children who lack it. This speech does little to disempower people. Malala even includes that she does not hate the Taliban. This speech is moving and engages the whole audience. Thank you for listening to and watching my screencast.